Welcome back to another episode of Out of the Blank. It's Dylan. Dylan's back. Dylan, welcome back, my friend. It's my little humble dojo, my podcast, but it's going to be our show. So I'm going to let you, um, why don't you introduce us?
Well, this is welcome to Out of the Blank podcast, man. As you can see,
Repping the
had to
merch.
represent. I'm Dylan Thomas, the host of In Search of Reality podcast. I'm glad to be back on the show, man. Definitely.
I think your show, the name title is great, but it's making me question more and more and more. And I think that's kind of like what I've started to see through your episodes is like, what is reality? That's what I ask myself on a daily basis. What is the question of reality? Now, anybody listening, this might be a mind trip of an episode because I don't know how deep we're going to go with it. But especially with watching, I don't know if you ever seen the show Doom Patrol with Brendan Fraser, even though he's not in the mummy looking kind of that beautiful, sexy Brendan Fraser we all know. He's more of like,
Right.
a dad version. But that show plays so much of the mental health game where it talks about like the mind-bending realities to people with the different personalities, like a misfit group of superheroes in a way. Or are they superheroes? I don't know. It seems like they cause more destruction than anything. And it makes me question the basic thing of we're all the hero in our own story, but at the same time, we're probably the biggest enemy. And I think through, you know, getting more interested in sleep science and kind of trying to discover how much the capacity of the human mind do we really understand, and we understand a very little bit of it. There's really we look at like where we're at right now is like probably the best time to be alive when it comes to innovations, when it comes to technology. But I'm like, are we letting the technology that door open and we're neglecting the door that could expand our own minds? Because I think not like I know a lot of people like to talk up like it's a religion or maybe that's the way God created us. And I'm like, I think there's something more pure and we're dismissing it deeper than that. And I think whether it's you're religious or you're not, there's something about us that is advanced in so many ways where I'm trying to understand, are we in a simulation? Like that's the main question. I'm losing my mind. Like, are we in a simulation?
Yeah. It- and we'll probably likely never figure it out, right? At least not in our lifetime. What reality really is, or I know it is strange, and I question it too. With my show, every episode, I feel like I learn a little bit more, but that just what I learn is just it opens more questions than gives answers. I've had some weird experiences though, so that's kind of caused me to question reality too. Experiences with spirit mediums. With the passing of my father, I've had some interesting things happen to me. And then just here recently, you know, I almost died, man. I was hospitalized for a week. I had to have emergency surgery. And in that process, man, I remember just from what I've learned through doing the show that like it was weird going into surgery. Like I had no fear at all, man. I had like, which I feel like, 2 years ago before I had started the podcast, I probably would have been scared out of my mind, but I had no fear of death whatsoever. I think, I have, I don't know if it's, I think my beliefs have changed about the afterlife. Let's put it that way.
I think we look at it differently depending on a certain event. Like I consider myself the only reason I am who I am, or I'm as open minded as I can be, is just from I'm like a sponge when it comes to soaking up information from the people around me. I believe we're all a constituted effort of everybody around us, every interaction we ever had, even if it's just a quick 1 minute conversation or a quick hello. That hello could be something that reverberates throughout your lifetime as a moment that someone actually gave a shit or might have seemed like they gave a shit about you. It's just I don't understand where, like, parents, for instance, like I get a little freaked out when like it's basically just like the roll of the dice, like hopefully you don't kill them. Like you don't know what instance that could be out of your control where next thing you know they could turn into a whole different person. Like how do you know if it perfectly lands out well? I know plenty of people that are like just bitter to shit. And I'm like, How did you like what happened in your life? Oh, nothing. My parents didn't do anything to me. I went to college and then I tried crack the first time and then everything went downhill from like, oh my God, like it's not even in their control anymore. And you start to look at like the reality that you have, does it have a base level to it, or is there always something that's expanding upon it? There's a game called Ancestors, and it's basically made by the people that make Assassin's Creed, and that's like you start out as like the a chimp, and you have to advance your species and your race. And at any moment, you're being attacked, you're trying to find food, but you're evolving constantly to where you start making tools. You get to see literally the evolution of man. Or if you believe, a lot of people don't believe we come from chimps. I have no clue. I thought that was like a basic thing everybody knew, is that we evolved from. I can watch two gorillas have sex in a zoo, and it's not porn, it's just a zoo. That's what they do, because all you really do when you're in a cage is you can walk around and fuck things or just throw shit at any literally shit at people. But I'm noticing so many base distinctive traits that are like in our DNA, where I'm wondering if this is just like something that's ingrained in all species. And then you start to go down a little bit deeper, like with Andrew Huberman's a neuroscientist, and he starts talking about how like what they call a dad bod, your body starts retaining weight when a baby's being close to being born, because it's preparing itself like inner consciousness that it's going to have long hours without sleep. So it knows it needs to store this as fat so it has something to burn off or something to hold on to, kind of like when bears go into hibernation. And I'm like, that's something that's a reflex. Like if you thought about it right now, about like just move your head. Remember what that feeling of moving your head up and down is. You're like, "What?" And it's like you have to stop and pause, and then you start thinking about it. And this is when I probably when I was getting high all the time and I got too high, this is the shit I would think about. It was like, "Oh my God, I forgot to breathe." But these are things that we're doing without even knowing that we're doing it, because we've been doing it for so long. It's like watching a toddler walk and they're starting to develop it. Next thing you know, they're running. Next thing you know, they're older and they're driving and they're doing all these things. We totally neglect the basic beauty of just evolution in general, whether that's evolution from species to species or an evolution to your mind's perception of things. And I think that's when we talk about flipping the script or changing the perspective of something. You are constantly morphing and figuring out who you are as a person, but at the same time there's so many influences that we neglect, but we only let in certain ones. Why do I not look at the person that confronts you or talks to you in such a calming manner and having a wonderful day? Dylan, I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope your day is filled with sunshine and rainbows and you win the lottery. I hope that happens for you. But then the only thing that you really hook onto and remember is like, I'm still holding back things from like 5 years ago where some asshole cut me off in traffic and flicked me off. I'm like, it was your fucking problem. I hope I come across him. You hold on to the negatives without looking at the positives. And I think this is when you get stuck in that tunnel of depression. I can talk about it because I'm not in it right now. But then I have my moments where I'm like, what's the point of all this thing? And I think it's because for some reason in our brain, there's like a defense mechanism where we hold on to the danger, and it's very, very hard for us to remember the good because we're always prepping our bodies. It's like with our immune systems.
I think you're right on that. I mean, I think, and I think I've mentioned it on your show before. I think it's really important to try to always live in the moment and not hold on to things from the past or look too far into the future, because, looking into the future, creates anxiety. And that kind of goes back to like, what the hell are we in? Are we in a simulation? Because, they say that, there is no past, present. There's only the now, and that you need to focus and try to live in the now. And I don't know if we're in a simulation or not, or what the hell's going on. But one thing I will say is that perhaps some of these doctors and these experts are onto something when it comes to being able to manifest your own reality and to be able to kind of be creators of your own future. There's a lot of people that are talking about this now, a lot of books. I just had a guest on my show, Dr. Mark McCullough, Dr. Joe Dispenza. There's another guy, his name isn't coming to me right now, but he talks about how you can manifest the power of making money. He's been on my show too. But the interesting thing is, and I don't know if it's true or not, it could be all bullshit, but I've actually had some experience here lately with my health and being able to do this. So if listeners who don't know, like, I've been diabetic for 5 years. I've always eaten healthy. I've always, like since I've become diabetic, I've always eaten healthy for the last 5 years. I've been trying to get off insulin, trying to do the right things. I do like intermittent fasting. I take all these, supplements. But it's only managed my diabetes. But here lately, since reading some of these books, I go into meditation daily and I try to focus in on the future of my health and things like that. And believe it or not, man, the doctors just took me off insulin because my I'm that regular now that I mean I'm still on medication, but not too many people can get off insulin. It's not something that's easy to do once you start going down that road. And I don't know, maybe it's a combination of things. I'm just saying that through these meditations, they seem like they're helping. So it's kind of weird. It makes me question what the hell is reality? What the hell is going on?
I think like for dreams, for instance, I've been trying to wonder why I have like these really intense ones. And I think when it comes to dreams, maybe it's so unexplainable that maybe it's just your body's way of trying to recognize a problem that you've been neglecting. And it does it in a very strange and abstract way because I don't believe anything is ever face value. It's always something that's like a long road or a long walk for a short drink of water. And like for instance, like right now, like I can tell that like my back hurts. There's something maybe with my disc in my back that I've been already diagnosed as I have a messed up disc. But I'm looking at it like I can tell right now that like I haven't eaten anything, I haven't drinking anything, but I'm retaining water because what happens is when your body is when it knows that its cells are damaged, it'll suck up water to help use for those cells for cell growth and all these different things, and it'll attack that area that's in pain. But that's a thing that my body's doing without even me knowing that it's happening. All I'm thinking is like, I feel puffy. Well, it's something actually very, very deep, and it goes down even farther than that, where your body's actually trying to repair itself while you're still moving and functioning. And I think when we say things are temporary, for instance, I think everything is temporary. They can give you a misdiagnosis, and next thing you know, you can develop those symptoms of that disease that they misdiagnosed you for. But it's just it's mind-boggling to me because I start to question things like we say that we create our own realities for sure. You can will things into existence. Maybe some people believe that, but you can also like think too much about something and then you can end up having this fight in your head that goes this way and you meet the person and the person actually doesn't end up being like a confrontational person. They're like, hey man, how's it going? You're like, oh, I was expecting you to like come at me with like hard hitting questions. It's like, no, I just want to chat and have a good conversation. But nobody talks about, and all this kind of ranting leads up to this point, is how much of what is dealing with right now when we say, where did this person kind of get messed up, or how did this person act like they're on level 10 and they shouldn't be? Maybe it's a factor of like something else is messing with our realities. And I don't consider that a personal influence, like me and you having a conversation is going to affect our realities. It might in some way, but it's not going to ruin our whole fucking day about it. But fake bots on the internet, maybe that's what's ramping up people online. There's a large amount of fake accounts on the internet that just disport or put these types of things in there and twist and bend your reality where you get these people that are on a level 10 when they shouldn't be. It's like you just said that person should fucking kill themselves. Why would you say that to any human being? And it's like, because this person doesn't okay, but now you've been down this weird rabbit hole that ends with a brick wall. It's like a rat in a maze going after the cheese. But every time you end up taking a left and it's a dead end, you back out, but then you take the fucking left again. And I'm like, what do you go the other way? Like, what are we talking about here? And I think this is a factor of the world now. Technology has advanced to a point where I don't think humans have adapted to understand its full capacity yet. But also, I think it's also, I don't know if it's a planned system or if it's something that's why people talk about the simulation, because there's a fucking monkey wrench getting thrown into it. And it's whenever on someone's on the path to success or someone's on the path to something or discovering something, when you bring up the question is when you start to be looked at. And that's when bot accounts start coming after you. And it's not just for, I think like there's a Russian troll farm, which is a fake institution in Russia that creates bot accounts over here, and they create disparities between the people. Now, this is a military tactic. We do it as well. Every country kind of does it.
And it's by design, right? To create, what is it? To create separation and animosity.
Yeah, it's like if me and you agree on one thing, and then this bot account comes in and goes, "Well, I actually heard from Dylan that he said this thing," and then I'm like, "What? Dylan would told me that." Well, actually, Dylan doesn't really talk about you. He actually messages me privately. These bot accounts will do that, and I actually recently just got a text about it. I got a paragraph text, and I think I ended up deleting the text, but I actually have the photo on my phone. I'm gonna read it on air because I'm just fucking around, but someone's probably gonna be like, "You're a piece of shit." Said, "Hey, are you Omal? I'm Reagan. We spoke on Tinder before I went to hang with my cousin, but we didn't connect offline. I'm back here for a minute. If you still want to actually go out this time, are you open to that?" Now, every letter in all of this whole entire paragraph, there are the ending letter, the first letter, or the middle letter has an apostrophe above it. So it's very, very weird to see that, like different markings above these letters. Now, this is so with the scamming system now, they will flag certain messages and say it's spam or throw it in your trash or track it down and cancel out that number. But now this is a way that they're manipulating, kind of like on the internet when people type in like something about like any of the pandemic or something, they'll use a weird capital where there shouldn't be a capital. And it,
Yeah.
for someone that used to get in trouble for grammar spelling all the time, I fucking irritates the shit out of me. Um, but then I was like, yes, please. I'm looking for, and then I said my dick to get sucked hard. I knew it was a fucking fake number. And then they sent a picture, go, "Oh, I actually did message a random dude. My mistake. I'm so stupid." And then they sent a picture of themselves. And then they kept going with it. I was like, "So no dick suck," as a joke. And then someone's going to get mad out there for me even saying that. But this number kept going with it, like, "Where are you from? Talk to me. I want to talk to you." And it started going. I'm like, this is something where you see people get catfish. This is something where you see something like this. Then that whole person's reality has not just been stopped, but has also been cut down like Jack and the fucking Beanstalk. Like there are people out there that spend years and people go, "Well, that person should have known better." Man, when you're in a state of weakness, if someone in your family just passed away and someone randomly messages you or you meet someone on Tinder or some online dating thing, and then you feel like you're actually developing a relationship and it's not that person, that's very like I watched a Dr. Phil episode on
Yeah,
it. A
it's
guy,
hardcore.
yeah, I watched a Dr. Phil episode on it. A guy spent $100,000 talking to this girl and trying to get her to fly over. It's like fucking 90 Day Fiance. I'm fucking sorry if there's a 0.1 possibility that she's fucking real, but most of the time she's not. And this is what ruins and causes someone to hurt themselves or hurt others. Hurt people, hurt people. It's and we're in a world of hurt, and I think it's everything around us is stretching our own fabric of reality. Joe Rogan recently got COVID. He beat it in 3 days, and he rambled off a list of things that he beat. But so many of those people that say do it, save a life, wanted him to fucking really go through some shit after he got it. And you start to see is those people aren't bad people. They're just people that are so against it's all sides now. It's like a law case or anything in the
Yeah,
judicial system.
man, I just had a conversation with somebody about that. I don't know how far you want to go into that whole thing, but
Just don't mention any of the names for the love
y-
of God.
yeah, but I just had a conversation last night. I recorded an episode about that same situation, about how it's strange. I mean, we're taking sides rather than, supporting each other with, whether your decision is to get it or not get it. Which it's unfortunate, I think, you know.
Um, I don't see. I think like the idea of world peace is not one that is. I mean, it's a good goal to have, but it's probably never going to be possible. We just love conflict too much. But I think that's a combination of being discommunicated as people, as much as we talk about community. But we're across the country from someone like Australia just banned Joe Rogan, so they're not even. You can't even listen to the podcast. Can't even mention it down there.
Really?
Yeah,
They banned him. Why?
for the whole entire beating the COVID thing and talking about the drugs that he used. They considered it misinformation because the drug I'm not going to name is one you cannot say, or you'll be like me and you'll get your video flagged off YouTube.
Yeah, it's most likely some generic that's been around for years. I'm assuming
It's
that they can't make money off of.
we can talk about it off air, but I'm not going to mention it on this show because I don't want to get this episode taken down. But it's I get it because you want to stop people from maybe going down. You don't want people drinking bleach. You had a bunch of people like eating doing a Tide Pod challenge. You don't want that ever happening again. But it's very, very weird what they choose to censor because then we still see fake accounts where someone will spend their whole entire bank account getting catfished by somebody. And you start to realize like, do you only consider dangers, things that you would label as dangers? What about real, actual dangers where there are people that end up hurting themselves or killing themselves because they've spent all their money going into someone trying to get someone to come over to this country, and we popularize that on television. Fucking what is it? Celebrity Rehab? That was something we all fucking watched. I didn't watch it. It was out of my time period. But you start to realize like we profit and we profiting off of another person's pain, profiting off of war. It's never going to end because there's a profit margin behind it. The reason why we can bomb other people in other countries is because we don't know those people. We see the faces of those people when we see videos and we see the horrible actions going on. But most of the time, you wouldn't give a shit if you don't know about it because you don't care to know about it because you can't see it. When you can see it, when it's on the home front, that's when you start to give a fuck.
I, I'm with you on that. I mean, well, humans have been killing each other and going to war since, as far as we know, since, the beginning of time, since the beginning of human existence, since we can go back and look at, human history. I've given that a lot of thought, and I think you're right. I don't think there ever will be world peace. But perhaps that's part of the struggle. Perhaps that's part of the experience and why we're here. Because maybe on the other side, or whatever you want to call it, in the spirit world, or as pure energy beings, we don't experience that kind of conflict, and we're here to as part of that experience, to experience that type of conflict.
I
I'm
feel
not
like
sure. I just
I feel like we fed the demon and then now we've let that demon be a part of us. And I think that comes with social media. I think social media can be a benefit for so many factors. But also, when Instagram went down recently, there was a bunch of people refreshing it. And then guess where they fucking went to go find out if Instagram was down for them or was it down for everybody? They went to fucking Twitter. Then what happens if Twitter's down? It's a test. Are you fucking really hooked onto this fucking app? Our server went down. Let's see how many people freak the fuck out at Instagram, called Instagram a piece of shit because they don't have their servers up. No, it's to test to see how addicted you are to that drug. That's an addiction. Social media is an addiction. You're refreshing and not even knowing why you're refreshing. It's like, why does a heroin addict go back to the spoon? Because it feels good. They don't know why they keep doing it,
right.
even knowing they almost overdosed, but they fucking love the way it makes them feel
It does,
instantly.
yeah, they
Yeah.
do. It does increase your, I think, your dopamine receptors, when you're on social media. So it would be addicting. It is addicting. You're absolutely right.
But
Um,
if we look at like MK Ultra, where the longest time, I mean, just I think until recently, like electroconvulsive therapy is not used anymore to treat schizophrenia, but that's what happens in mental institutions, abuse, all these types of things that happen because it's a power grab. Someone will abuse a person that doesn't have any power, is not their mind's not right. I actually have a episode about it. I think it's like 77. My buddy Jared, his brother is a little bit mentally challenged, and he was abused in one of these rehab facilities or one of these like homes for the mentally ill, and they had it on video because apparently he's like autistic, but he left the video on his iPad. He was Skyping with his mom, and he likes to do things in the background. He doesn't like to pay attention. So she's like trying to take pictures of him while he's like, he thinks he closed it out, but he didn't. He's just playing like a game on there. So it's still recording. Like if I was talking to you, but you thought you turned me off and you were walking around your house, like cleaning up your room or some shit, and maybe got a little kinky, twist the nipples a little bit. But with him, he was playing a game, and his all you hear is a door bust open. His mom's trying to take a picture, and she just starts videotaping. And they have this video, and they actually sued the institution, got it shut down. But the dude came in and goes, "Get the fuck up," and grabbed him and threw him up against the wall, and he had bruises on his neck. And he's like, he's basically a child in an adult body, but it's a power grab. People like when you see Hubie Halloween, you see Ben Stiller's character come in and fucking kick the bed, like about to beat the shit out of the guy in there, and he's not there. It's a power grab. Our realities are morphed and changed, and I'm wondering where does this all stem from? Because obviously, hurt people, but they're not happy people. But what's making them stay unhappy? Because happy is a mindset. Happy is a place that you're in at this moment in time, or sadness is a spot that you're in this moment in time, and time heals all. But you're not looking at the time anymore when you're sad. The only time you notice time is when you're happy. I don't ever want this moment to end. And you check your fucking watch. I don't, oh, it's only been 10 minutes, not an hour. But when you're sad, you want everything to end right now, and minutes are hours, hours are days, days are weeks, weeks are months, and it's weird. I'm wondering if we can, like, figure out a way to hack that properly. Because if you can hack it to where you can cure somebody's schizophrenia by using electroconvulsive therapy, what's social media doing where they're able to create bots and make you schizophrenic by thinking that you can eat a Tide Pod and you'll have superpowers? I don't know, but they found a way to hack it. So it shows not only is the mind so strong and powerful, but it's fragile too. It's like walking on a layer of glass and it just doesn't break. But then it breaks one day and you weren't expecting it. And then next thing you know, your whole illusions are literally shattered.
Oh, that's a lot.
I do
But
that a lot.
um yeah, I think the power of the mind is incredible, and I think you're right. It can be fragile. Uh, I think, but I also think it can be strong and resilient, right? I mean, especially through experience. People can bounce back. People can go through things like the loss of a child, or and they're able to continue on and push forward. I mean, I think that has to take a lot of mental, fortitude or resilience to just try to be in a good place or to keep, because I mean, something like that would be, at least for me, life shattering, and people were able to continue on and move on. I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is as far as, social media. I mean, it has its good points, but there is a lot of negativity, it seems, um, towards the human race. And a lot of it, I think you're right. A lot of it does come down to power and control over people. Uh, which is, it's unfortunate that that's the type of world we live in.
But what's an answer to change the programming? If we're all kind of programmed in a way, I think we all kind of are, depending if you want to talk about influences being some type of program or some type of thing that messes with our original program. When you look at a child doesn't notice certain things that a full grown adult notices. There are some people that might notice, like, okay, there's 10 people in this room. So that's 10 people, and one person could attack me from this way, one person could attack me from this way. But a child walks into a room and goes, there's a bunch of people in this room. But they run up to you without even noticing that you're in a conversation, tug your leg, "Daddy, look at this," and they toss something at you. You're like, "Uh-huh, cool, yeah," and you'll smile and laugh just so they'll walk off, and you'll go back to the conversation you're having. What changes along the way? Did they figure out masturbation is cool and they start doing it too much and then maybe too many times? I don't know, but there's something that changes, and I'm wondering within ourselves, if it's just a state of mind, a lot of people like ADHD, they go, well, that's all in your head. No shit. That's kind of the issue. But if you start to change it or you start to channel it into something, maybe it could be your most powerful asset. The reason I record so many episodes, I have ADHD, so I like to talk all the time, but I don't ever talk in my everyday life. So then it's a weird mix of emotions. Why are there people that are psychics? Why can people talk to fucking animals? Can they talk to animals? I don't know, but they tell me they can, and they believe that they can. So maybe they can. I had a lady on here talk about she could talk to ghosts, and I said, okay, what about Walt Disney? She got the ghost of Walt Disney to talk to her on an episode. The reason why people go, how'd you keep a straight face? I was like, because in her reality, she can do that. She probably, and she told me, she goes, shamans told me I had this ability, and they helped me unlock it. Okay. Well, if you're a guy sitting in a fucking teepee and you see a fucking tourist come your way and you try and sell them like something, here, buy this. It'll unlock your shamanistic powers. Now, everyone along your way has told you that you have this power, and then you start to believe it. Maybe you manifest it. Maybe you create it. But if other people can't see it, they won't believe it. But it's not to say that it's not real, because in your own reality, it is real. So as much as we can be scared of something, people say, well, you're scared of heights, you're scared of flying. Humans weren't meant to fucking fly, or we would have had wings. So it's a good fear to have. But then some people totally dismiss it. Some people go, it's not, I'm not even, what are you talking about? Why are you afraid of it? Because that's not part of their reality. Your reality is different from someone else's reality. It's not like we're all in different simulations. We're all in one giant simulation. I think, if there is a simulation, we're all in one giant world, but all of our realities are, like, as much as our dreams are unique to us. And I think that's interesting, because I'm wondering, Dylan, what's your reality? And has it changed from your hospital visit?
Um, not, I don't know if it's changed from a hospital visit, but it has changed drastically. You know, I think at one point in time, I was a materialistic type of person, didn't believe in God, didn't believe in the afterlife. But I think through experiences is what's kind of changed or altered, you know, my perception of things. But I think it's important, if that's going to take place, I think it's important to be an open-minded person. I think you have to be willing to change and willing to accept things. And maybe as you learn and grow as a person, willing to, you know, alter your perception of reality or your perception of, you know, what you think. You know, I still don't know what the hell's going on, but I feel like, you know, I'm forever constantly changing and evolving into like what I think might be going on. So my reality's changed in a lot of ways, man. I believe in, you know, I believe in the afterlife. I've talked to too many psychic mediums. I've actually had some experiences with, you know, like I said, past loved ones, you know, my father in particular, uh, just psychic mediums telling me weird shit that they should have had no idea. And I don't know if they're tapping into him or tapping into, you know, something in me, but
Did
I
this
don't
all
know. It's
change when you had that near death experience? Like, did you start thinking about the afterlife differently? Because whenever I get, like, I have an intestinal issue as well too.
I embraced it, man. That's all I did. And it was just a surprise to me. Like I embraced it. I basically went into meditation right before surgery, and I told the universe, you know, I'm ready to go if that's, you know, the will of whatever. It's if it's time, it's time. I'm good with it. I'm at peace with it. Eh, But at the same time, I had asked the universe. I said, listen, if I come back from this damn surgery, like I don't want too many extra complications. I know it's going to be a long process, a long healing process, a struggle, which it was. It took me about 7, 8 weeks to kind of get back to my normal self. But I just asked that there'd be no extra complications or added on shit to my life, because I got enough going on that if I'm coming back, I want to be somewhat regular, you know, because I've got a lot of things I need to do and I want to do. And it was weird, man. It was just like a calming sense. And I was at peace. I remember them wheeling me into the surgery room, and I had no ounce of fear whatsoever. And I just I was good with it. Like what, either way, whether I woke up or I didn't wake up, like I'm good with it. And then the procedure was supposed to be 45 minutes. It turned into a 4.5 hour procedure. So there was a lot of, you know, there was some things that had happened and some things they discovered once they went in there that they didn't realize the extent of how bad I was.
When did you notice that you had to go to the hospital?
Believe it or not, man, it's crazy because it was like the night before. And they said that this had been going on for a long time, because based on the amount of infection that I had like throughout my body, like this isn't something that just happened, but they think that maybe perhaps, you know, part of my intestine like ruptured or opened up more is why. But I was just getting like these really intense like stomach cramps the night before, and I didn't sleep the whole night, but I got up and I went to work, and I'm at work, and I'm noticing that like as I'm walking, like I'm slowly like unable to even like take a step, because it's just cramping up so bad to the point like where like I'm just like hunched over. And you know, I said, and I'm not a doctor kind of guy, or I need to go to the hospital type of person, but you know, told my supervisor, I said, look, I gotta go to the hospital. Something's wrong. And it was actually on the 4th of July. Uh, and I went to the hospital, and I figured it was just something that had to do with my diabetes or something that they were gonna, you know, figure out in an hour or two and release me from the hospital. But no, um, no. So, and the surgery was supposed to be, like I said, just a kind of invasive where they just go in and check and see what's going on. And like I said, it turned into a 4.5 hour surgery. They cut some of my intestines out. They reattached them. You know, they took out my appendix, some things like that. So
What is your definition of an afterlife? Is it still the same as maybe like when you were a kid, or has it changed dramatically? Like I think everyone has a different definition of what an afterlife is. Is like it's a heaven, but is it everybody's heaven, or do we have all of our individual own
I,
heavens?
I do believe that. Just based on a lot of near death experience, encounters that I've heard, through my show and talking to different people who have either had a near death experience or people who study, or in all the different podcasts I listen to. Man, I listen to so many damn podcasts. But yeah, I think my definition is it's our own individual creation of how we view reality. I think there is like a life review, because it seems that everybody kind of has this life review. And I think that you are able to communicate with other spirits or other energies that you've had lifetimes with. I believe that there is reincarnation, just based on all the people that have had past life regressions done, which I've had a couple myself. And they some people claim that it could just be your subconscious, but I don't know. There's just stuff that you're able to draw on when you're having that past life regression, that it just doesn't seem to be something that's just there as your subconscious. It's something that's more powerful than that. And you can even pull, when you're having these past life regressions, you're able to even pull on the emotions that person or you was feeling at that time. It's really strange, man. But prior to any of that, like I said, I was a materialist. I didn't believe in reincarnation. I was, what the hell, reincarnation? But I think it's a thing, man. I think we're everlasting, ever living energy that can't be destroyed. And you're not going to have, if that is the case, you're not going to have just one lifetime, one experience. I mean, you're going to, you'll get bored or whatever, but you're going to want to, experience life in multiple ways, and perhaps as different things. You may not even always be a human. I don't know. But I just think that, because there's things that you can't experience in the spirit world, right? Or in as an energy form. They say that it's all love, it's all knowing, and it's all love. You can't experience maybe hate or fear, because how can you experience fear if you can't be destroyed, or if you're everlasting energy? But when you come into a life, a human body, like, you experience all these different things. You experience, and it teaches us, it helps us to learn, it helps us to evolve, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I always question reincarnation. Was I don't think there's ever a point, no matter, and I don't know how long that time would be, where I would want another trip around knowing that I would forget and have a whole new family that I would be connected to. Because I think I have such, even though like I'm not as connected as everyone might be, like, go on lunch every Tuesdays or go whatever to out to breakfast every Fridays. And sometimes you don't even talk. But it's a factor of like I'm loyal as shit when it comes to my friends and family. I consider you part of the family, especially if you've been on the podcast and you're repping a shirt. You're part of the OOTB family. Um, but there's something I'll never forget, and I think that's part of the reason why I talk about our realities are I'm a constitute of everybody around me, is because you've left a marking, whether it's good or bad. Um, it's a piece of me that I'll always remember you. I'll never forget. And it's kind of like the idea of fame in a way. Fame is like everyone wants to be remembered and everyone wants to be loved by millions, but they lose track of you. They lose the connection of you. Whenever we see an actor die, we say, "Oh my God, it's terrible," and it trends for what, a fucking day? Is that what everyone wants? Is to be trending for a day on Twitter or Instagram or internet? But when you have your family members that lose you, they remember you forever. Your close friends remember you. And I think I was watching a documentary about schizophrenia, and that's probably one I'm just really obsessed with. Is because when they like there are people that know that they have it and they manage it. They go, when you're talking to, do you see that person over there standing over there with like the weird hood? And the guy goes, "What person?" He goes, "Okay, never mind. Are you seeing somebody?" "Yeah, I'm seeing a person in a fucking trench coat with their hood up and they're looking over here and they have no face." And it's like, that person's not there. Okay, all right. And they kind of know it. And then it gets worse and worse and worse. But your brain is so powerful, it constitutes its own reality. Where I start looking at death, for instance, and I go, Maybe when you die, your fucking brain just keeps on going and playing out the scenario until you're ready to come to grips with the fact that you did die. I've mentioned this dream a couple of times, but when I was on this ship and I fell into the water and I tried to save the lives of these people, and I started, you'll have to go back, Dylan. I'm sorry, and because I've reiterated it so many times, I'll have to send you the episode. But when in this dream, I saw this light as I was sinking in this water going down. And then I ended up like from going sinking, I ended up falling. The water changed. And I'm like now falling and I hit this ground. And next thing I know, I end up living this like to be like 70 something. I have grandkids and shit. And I open up the door, then I just see this flash of white. And it's that same light as I was sinking into the water. I could look up and see the sun. Now I know that's
Do
a
you
really
do you
shitty.
think perhaps you were tapping into past lives in them dreams?
I fucking hope, dude. If I was a pirate, look, I'm the one guest I'm trying to get. If anybody out there listening knows anybody, but I've had a pirate on before, but I've never had anybody that's like a doctor or studies pirates. But every time you type in piracy or pirates, you get fucking people trying to sell you pornos and shit. It's not fun. There are a couple good ones out there. I'm like, that's like putting it on the wish list. But I don't think it's that. I think it's a way of like talking about inner things. Why was I trying to save people in a sinking ship? Well, I remember when I went to go see the Pearl Harbor Museum, they talked about people that were drowning in the ship as it was sinking and trying to rip their way out of the ship and they got stuck and there's still bodies in there. So my brain was pulling that from that. And I'm trying to find every scientific explanation of it, but there's just so much about the brain that we don't understand of why it does this certain thing. And I don't want to chalk it up to religion. It could be that. I don't know if it is. But I also want to know if it goes deeper than that because there's something where it's your body is telling you that there's an issue without you thinking about the issue. When you work all day, you have a bunch of problems like, fuck, I need to work on this later. But then you get home and you're tired and you go, well, I'll deal with that tomorrow. And you fall asleep.
See, you mentioned something important there, though. I think you mentioned that you looked at death, right? I think that's a lot of what the world's missing, man. I think you got to confront death and you got to understand death for what it is and that it's not final. It's an illusion, man. It's a fucking illusion because we continue on. I mean, there's way too much proof of that, I believe, like with near death experiences with psychics being able to tap into spirits that have passed on the other side, past life regressions, stuff like that. Little kids that come back and have fucking memories of a lifetime and they're able to track down that life and they know all these different facts about the person and their family. I mean, how the hell does that happen unless it is what it is? But I think if you can confront death and view it as an illusion and that realize that you're everlasting and that you continue on, it really adds a lot of beauty to this life. It kind of puts a lot of the fears aside. It just allows you to live, man, to live like you're supposed to live. I think that's key, man, is just understanding that the death is not final.
Yeah, but when we look at magic, for instance, now it's just fooling our brains to think something and then we think something different. We do that every day in everyday life in a conversation. We'll think this person means this when really they don't mean that at all. They'll jump to an assumption is what they call it. But the difference between an illusion and an assumption, our brain is constantly trying to find different slots or different avenues of what you're trying to interpret to get time cut down because everything has just been a fast-paced society for so long. It's trying to reduce the amount of time being consumed. But when a kid comes back and is able to remember past lives, we can't explain so much about the brain. How is it that it's not a fabric of reality that you create? Now, when you take psychedelics or something, that shit's not really happening and you know it because you have taken psychedelics. You know this is what psychedelics do, but it feels fucking real. It feels like it's everything. You feel like you just saw a fucking two-headed tiger teach you the whole works of Mozart. Now, I had a past episode with Steve Cantwell. I've mentioned him a couple of times. Best drug trip story I've ever heard. He took salvia and spent 20 years in this fucking other life in Texas, but he was only gone 45 seconds in reality. No, it wasn't 20 years, it was 8 years, but he only spent 45 seconds in reality that he was gone. But he taught himself how to, he played a fucking Queen cover band. Like he was playing Queen songs. And he comes back and he was Mormon for so long, he never ever played the fucking piano. But he goes, in the drug trip, I learned to play fucking piano. And they're like, what? And he started showing everybody, like, how do you know how to fucking do that? Like,
That's intense, man.
so
It,
I start to go
it,
like our brain can be tricked into fucking things. Like hypnosis is a real fucking thing. You can convince people to stop smoking. Can you convince your body and mind to do other shit besides like being afraid of heights? Those simple shit. Can you do it so much where imagine all these great philosophers I've talked about with some couple historians, these giant innovations of life, Socrates, Aristotle, whoever you want to say. Imagine if they were just a kid and someone they said something to someone and someone goes, you're a fucking you're a fucking super person. You have the you are so intelligent, so advanced. Then maybe they're not. Maybe they're just normal. But now everyone has told them and like just gone along with the show that they are this, and now they have manifested that. Their thoughts start to change. Our minds are changing from technology, changing it. It's all influences of other people. Someone's tweet could change your whole entire fucking mind and cause you to look up a documentary. Bob Ross telling me in a fucking documentary on Netflix, I recommend to anybody out there. I've said it a couple times, but motherfucker can paint, but he makes you feel like you can paint. When he starts dabbing the paintbrush on the canvas and trees just start randomly forming, like he's not even doing the strokes of how you would do a tree, but he starts dabbling it and making trees pop up. Then he shows you all of his classes that he taught, and everyone has a Bob Ross fucking painting where they're drawing and painting just like him. Because you just have to think it. You have to think of a place. You are creating that reality. Maybe our bodies, when we look at people that are really good at making beats or music, maybe we can do that as well too. Maybe we can write books. Maybe we can act. Maybe we can do everything that we see other people do and we get jealous and we wish we had a sliver of their talent because we've unlocked that part of it. I feel like everybody in life, there's like a million skill traits out there, and every single person in the world has one specific category that they excel in. You can spread your points evenly everywhere, like a fucking video game, but we all have a specific talent or ability that we're really, really good at. And I think we can all unlock that. We can all get to the same frequency or the same level, but it's about knowing it and trying to not trick your brain, which I feel like a lot through history has always been a way to try and trick your brain. Smells can bring on certain memories. Well, they found a drug that they can put into you, or certain codes that they can do with speech and make you forget certain things. How we get sleeper agents and shit like with MK Ultra. But if there's that capacity of our mind, who's to say that this thing right that we're in right now, me talking to you, I could not, maybe we could teleport one day. I have no fucking clue. We consider that a superpower, and maybe that's gotten drilled into our brains that it's so impossible. But I guarantee to you there's someone out there focusing their whole entire life to be able to do so. There's people back before 100, 200 years ago that would have never thought that a person would land on the fucking moon or a person would go to Mars. We're fucking doing that. So whether that's the technology doing it for us, reality is whatever you can think of, and whatever you can think of is only has been what has been created and what could be a possible future, but there's no definitive answer in it. So to say that we could not one day just be able to teleport or one day be able to be like, I know Spanish, and then you're able to speak fluent Spanish. I have no clue. And I think that's what's fucking fascinating, where I'm like, I don't understand what that is. I don't know how that happened. Maybe
that
I
is
don't, when
fascinating.
I look at two gorillas fucking in the zoo, I don't know how, do they have that? I don't know. But it's nuts. And you start to look through the mind of a schizophrenic. We're all schizophrenic. We're all living in this own perceptual reality. And whether the clock starts ticking of our reality starts to crumble is when I start to see health diseases or mental issues or life going down the drain. Anthony Bourdain is the best example. Hurt killing himself, even though everyone loved him. But it was that spot that he was in, that spot where his reality had become so dark. Now he's standing on an island and there's nothing there but a fucking void. And that happens to everyone, I think. But I think it's like if I asked you, do you want to go take a trip to Hawaii? You'd probably be like, sure, but I'm not forcing you to go. There's that ticket. You have that option to go spend and buy a ticket and go to Hawaii whenever you want. I think that's the same thing with depression. You can choose to end it whenever you fucking want. But what is going to speed up that progress of you thinking that way or getting to that point is all the perception of your reality when it starts to crumble.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is all about your perception and digging yourself out of that dark place. Unfortunately, sometimes people they don't return, or they choose to take their life, or whatever that may be. And that's unfortunate. I had a close friend that committed suicide, and it was pretty shocking to the whole family. But that's tough. But going back to the guy for a second that had the psychedelic experience, you said that he experienced 8 years and 45 seconds,
I'll
which
get him on your show. I'll get him on
that's
your
what I
show.
love about psychedelics, though. It just breaks down the fabric of time. Like it teaches you that time is an illusion as well. Death is an illusion. Time is an illusion.
Time is a creation of man to be able to
Yes.
depict whether the sun is in the fucking sky or not.
Yes, it's likely that he did experience 8 years and 45 seconds. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but if you just have to have a psychedelic experience to be able to understand, that's the only way I could put it.
If the human race lives another 100 years or 200 years and we start getting into civilization two, where we're colonizing on the moon or some other planet, they're going to look back and be like, those people only got to live to be 90 years old or 100. We live to be 500. We live to be 1,000 now because we found ways to be able to expand that method out. Back when people were discovering America or coming across 1492, Christopher, I guess that's what it is, when Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. What, your mid 20s and your late 20s was old as fuck. Now we're like, that's young as shit. But you got to see like the way that society is progressing, the way people are progressing, the way everything's ramping up so much. It's like there's going to be no more time left. And I think this is upon generations of you need to care for it now because it's going to be gone if we don't do something now. And with all that being influenced into your brain, you start to feel like you have very little time left. When you meet someone or you're on your deathbed, for instance, you might have lived 40 years, but you can accomplish a lot in that fucking 40 years. But with the massive amount of inflation when it comes to someone's expectations of what success is, or maybe this is just my own type of thinking, it's a time suck. There seems like there's not enough fucking time in the world to live out your fucking life. And I don't know if it's because of what you're doing is not fueling or going into that fire that needs to be fed to be able to feel like you are accomplishing a lot, or is it just a factor of society's thing? There's going to be, like I said, people maybe 200 years from now, they're going to be looking back like, man, we lived to be 1,000. We got plenty of time. But even 100 years isn't a lot of time. A day doesn't feel like a lot of time because half the time you get off work and it's already fucking night. You're like, damn, I spent my whole day at work
Right.
because it's autopilot. Our brain goes in there to save us from the reality that we hate this fucking job and we want to do something different.
Yeah. But it's, again, it does feel short. It is short. I think that's the point of the experience, is to feel that. You can't feel that in energy form, because you're eternal. That you live forever. You continue on after this as consciousness, or whatever it is. And I think that that is part of the human experience, is to feel that kind of sense of urgency, and to feel that, like you're running out of time, and to kind of even grasp the concept of time, right? Because I mean, if you're eternal, you don't have no concept of time, because you're eternal. I
But I,
think it's
I
it's
still can't create like mountains and shit with my hands like Dr. Manhattan. So that's what I consider eternal. Maybe eternal is just living forever, but I consider ultimate power on unlocking another perspective. I look at like
mm,
there are people that have psychic abilities. I've been able to do some shit I can't explain, some very weird shit. I always get deja vu with my dreams a lot. But I don't know if this is just a lapse or if it's something of how is my brain being able to interpret? Is it manifesting a fear that ends up becoming true because it's a possible or likely scenario? Or is my brain warning me of a danger? There's two different ways you can look at it. And I think our brains have a natural way of trying survival. It's in our blood. We all want to survive. Like everybody is afraid of death. Well, most people are afraid of death, but everyone loves to sleep. It's kind of like the same thing. Sometimes you'll sleep and never wake up. But I start to question what, when we do something, just instinctively, how that could be so easy to us and it's so difficult for someone else, where you start to wonder, like, how far does like our brains, are we ever going to be able to unlock another part to it, or is it just a constant progress where we have to use, I don't like using like medication, I don't like using things that are able to fix things for us, because then it's like you're going to spend your whole life sucking off the tit of that. So I'm wondering, if you stop, I'm not saying don't take your medications, I'm just saying, is there a way, like when you have a headache, okay, well, I rarely get sick because I never take medication. I never take ibuprofen. I never take any of that shit. I let my body naturally duke it out. And I've done that ever since I was a kid. So maybe that's why I rarely get sick all the time. I have no clue. But your body has a process to adaptation. And when you let something in that might seem as like you need this or it helps you, does it help you if it can't be fixed? Because all you're doing is treating something that you're going to have to keep going back to, and back
Yeah,
to.
you're treating symptoms, not the source of the problem.
Yeah.
And that's every day with medication, and that's typical Western medicine for you right there. Uh,
Do you know the story of what happens when you go to hell?
when you say story, like as far as what do you mean?
I guess it would be the latent terms, not maybe when it comes to the devil, but maybe on an aspect of Greek mythology seems to be the one that most society or our culture, for instance, has adapted most from, is just from the Greeks and the Romans,
Hmm.
not really sticking to the Norse way. But when you get to hell, there's Persephone there to greet you, and she kind of talks you down, much like an old mafia tactic when people would show up to the doorstep to go shoot a fucking guy or dump his body in a river. He'd have the wife open up the door and talk to him. Hey, come in. Oh, you guys look nice. Why don't you sit down? I get you some tea. And it kind of eases the anger out. And then next thing you know, they're calm, and then they can have a civil discussion with anybody getting shot, hopefully. Um, but that's what Persephone would do in the legends. She would walk with you, talk with you, say, hey, you died, and this is what's happening, and let you come to grips with what's going on and accept your fate that you are in hell. And then you experience whatever that is. But then heaven is a place where everything you could possibly imagine, everything you could possibly think of is there. I was thinking about this because I watched the movie This Is the End, which is a great fucking movie with James Franco and Seth Rogen. And they get to heaven. You can have anything you want, fellas. Weed, and they smoking joints in heaven and everything. But then anything, we can have anything. And Backstreet fucking Boys come out. I start looking at, like, when you look at this, is this why everyone wants there to be something else afterwards? Is because there's another part or another chapter? Who's to say when you die at the age of 90 that there's just not another extension to that? You're in a whole nother dimension where you're fucking 90 years old. Like, you're telling me I could have got here better? Oh yeah, in this dimension we live to be 1,000. So you got
Right.
about 100, and you got about 900 something years left, and you're like, holy shit, why did I take so long to get here? It's like, well, that was dimension one. Then you got dimension two. Then there's different levels, like the food pyramid before they
Hmm.
canceled it. There's just different layers.
Right. I mean, it's a possibility, right? I mean, I suppose it could be something that, I mean, what do you think? Do you believe that there's other dimensions?
I believed, oh, there definitely is. I mean, or scientists wouldn't be trying to find a way to go into other dimensions.
Exactly.
So I don't know what my idea of an afterlife is. I think maybe you're just gone. I hate that idea that it just ends, but I used to think that heaven would be the best place. I used to think that, like, obviously the biggest fear is hell, but then the factor that there's a door or escape route to go one more route around or be able to go on the ride again. I'm like, I don't, that just seems so unappealing to me. I understand eventually if you're sitting in a fucking place where you can have anything you want for 1,000 fucking years or something, you're eventually going to want to take another trip around. But
Right.
I don't know. In this place that I stand right now, I think there's more of an aspect of, I believe your brain, when you die, creates something where your spirit or whatever, maybe it is like a heaven, but it's your life still going on inside your own head.
Yeah. And I
That makes
think,
sense.
maybe you don't want to come back as as this person that I'm sitting here talking to you right now, but from at least what I've learned from, psychic mediums, and it could be bullshit. I don't know, it could be true, but they claim that like you and I, it's not completely you. It's just a fraction of your energy and your soul. You have more of it, somewhere else. And when you pass on, you return back to your entire soul. So like you yourself may not want to take another ride, but as your actual complete soul, it may have a different theory on things. I don't know. It may have a different philosophy on, what you need to do, what kind of work you need to do, what you need to experience. It's just an idea, though. I haven't a clue. Obviously, I don't have a clue, but
Do you think maybe like how me and you are able to like be on the same frequency and be able to chat back and forth? Do you think maybe the people that we connect with or the people that we have as best friends for a very long time, or maybe the people we end up falling in love with, like if my great grandparents, I'm not saying I'm in love with you, by the way. I'm just you're a handsome fellow. I fucking
thank you. Thank you,
yes.
bud.
Okay. But I wouldn't fuck you. But
I appreciate that.
my great grandparents were married for 70 something years.
Right.
So is maybe that's a fragment of like you ever drop a glass on the ground and it shatters everywhere. Well, there's always like one piece that ends up not getting picked up 100%. And
Right.
you end up like stepping on it like 2 years later when you're walking down to get a midnight snack and it's like, fuck, I
Right.
knew I shouldn't have tried
Right.
to break my fast. And then but maybe that's a fragment of your soul, that glass breaking. You are from one whole piece that gets shattered into a million different ones. And then that's what we connect to the most, things that we can find similarities within ourselves to connect to, rather than trying to find the differences. And I'm curious if there's that theory, then what are the differences? What are the things that aren't attracted to our souls? Because if is it an influence of creation? Is it an influence of life? Does life create these things that disgust us? Because if we're just soul, if we're just energy, then we shouldn't have anything that should be against us in such a way. It's why we can sit down and eat a food we don't like if we want to be polite. There's something else there that's bringing us to this point. So it's a construct of your reality. Someone that you consider your biggest enemy might not even be your biggest enemy. It might just be something that somehow in your brain you've been brainwashed not to think or agree with this certain type of thing and has caused you to want to cut it out like a bad piece of tissue. And I'm curious to if this is all a factor of energy, if this is all this, then why are we so pushed away like a magnet, two different ends, they can't touch each other? Why are we so pushed away from it?
I'm not sure. But that's an interesting point that you bring up. And it reminds me of, you talk about, um, your grandparents and people, perhaps like your enemies. And again, I don't know, but from what I've heard, they claim that oftentimes we incarnate with same souls, not always in every lifetime, but oftentimes like people will incarnate with souls to give help, that you have a close relationship with, that you've had you've shared other lifetimes with. And then, perhaps one time they may be your brother, and then another time they may be your enemy. And oftentimes they will come back that way to help provide that experience of whatever that is. Maybe it's somebody who needs to do, some really messed up shit to you in your life, and they come back as that so that you can have that experience. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know, but I often think too about like, if that isn't the case, if we don't incarnate, and if we don't live eternal, then what the hell is like with all the deaths of little children and stuff like that? What the hell kind of a world do we live in if you only get one shot at it, and you're born and maybe you die of cancer, or you die of something fucked up at like a year and a half old? What kind of it, I have a hard time grasping that concept of like, well, that was Mary, she had one shot at life and died at a year and a half old. That's it, done.
Why does a person have to go through so many miscarriages before they can have a kid? You start to wonder there's why did you have to get surgery for your intestine? Who's to say if that didn't happen 100 years ago, you would still be talking to me right now? Who's to say if that happened 10, 15 years ago? Who would have said if it
Yeah,
wouldn't have happened the week before that happened, that everything would have went right? I think
that's right.
there's a weird part to this world. And I think,
Synchronicities.
yeah, I just playing that ancestry game like I'm talking about, when you start looking at like the genetic evolution and you start to look at they play it in such a way, maybe I'm just brainwashed or convinced by it, but I think that like who's to say I'm gonna live to be 90? I mean, that's a fucking nightmare in my opinion. Because my great grandpa lived to be like 95 or 94, and he was like, I don't want to be here. I was like, okay. I was like, you look good. He's like, no, I don't. Don't lie to me. I look like a goblin. I'm like, all right, love you. See you next time. See you next Christmas. He goes, hope not. I was like, okay. Um, but I mean, I don't. Maybe I live to be 30. Maybe I live to be 40. I have no clue. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about before. Is like you're supposed to appreciate the time that you have while you have it because you don't know what it's going to be gone. I mean, just since September, I've lost like eight, almost nine people. I think nine people, maybe eight. Um, whether it's car accidents, whether it's overdosing, whether it's um, suicide, whether it's whatever. And you start to look at like, I don't know. I can necessarily can't look at you like a watch and be able to pick apart every single part of who you are because there's just things that we don't understand. And I hopefully we can understand them one day, but I also like the mystery and not understanding it. I think like for someone else, there was a story about a doctor who ended up stabbing or not, the doctor didn't stab, he was dealing with a stab wound victim, and it was a little girl who was stabbed. And right as they were looking at her, they're trying to sew her up and everything, they noticed a tumor that would have not been diagnosable at the time of this case happening. The technology wasn't that advanced to be able to do so. I think it was like early 2000s or something. And they pulled it out and they said it must have been a sign from God. Like, because why would God have a random girl get stabbed? This person that we create into our head. And then they go, well, God wanted you to find the tumor and he had to make that happen to do that. That's now that person's part of their reality. I don't know if that was just a random coincidence because whenever it comes to the world, whenever something's unexplainable, we just consider that a coincidence or we consider that a mystery, or we consider
Yeah.
that's God. And I'm like, maybe, and maybe that's what we need to get through. And I think this is part of the reason why there's a lot of confrontation going on in the world right now is religion isn't as popular as it was before. Now it's becoming less and less and less. There's more or less of a belief and a more thing of science. And I think that's why science is on the chopping block because it's like, don't take this last thing I need from me. I worked with a woman in my hotel job for a long time. Um, and she was always like, God bless, God this, guys. I'm like, and I would question her, like, why always say God? Why always say God? I'm not gonna take it from you, but why God? She goes, I have a husband that's in a wheelchair, and every day I have to take care of him. This is what I know that there is a God out there because I still have him today. And that's a part of her reality. And I would never take that from anybody. Be religious. I don't care. But you can't get mad at people that don't want to believe in that certain thing. And I think this is what's the weirdest thing about it is that life is unexplainable. We could say life is whatever you make it. It has no meaning because it has meaning, but to each individual person, each individual little energy is different. You know what I mean? It's some people really care about the Taco 12 pack. They fucking love it. And then some people are like, I just want to get drunk out on the lake. That's what they want to do. And that's their reality to be able to do so. And I think as long as it doesn't harm another person's well being, but I think everything we do, me and you having this conversation that eventually is going to be an episode, it might harm somebody. We don't know that person, so it doesn't bother us, but it might. Everything you do has an effect to it, whether it's good or bad. And I think that's what is very interesting to see the digital contract or the contract that we sign with life of knowing whatever you're doing has an impact onto something. You might, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's why I think you're right. I think everything does have an impact, and I think that's why there is no such thing as coincidences. The universe is an amazing place, man, and it's synchronistic as hell. I mean, like mentioned the girl being stabbed. You know, perhaps it just wasn't her time, and that's how they were able to find the tumor. She was not meant to die from a tumor. So in order for that to happen, she had to be stabbed. I know it sounds crazy, and I
That's
think we
true
all,
too, though. That's a real reality as well too.
yeah, and I think we all have free will though. I'm not saying that everything's written in stone and that, it's we're stuck to the storyline and we have to stay with it and we can't, go down a different path. I don't believe that, but I just believe that the universe kind of flows and is synchronistic to whatever path you're on or whatever way you're taking it. It's strange, man. It's very strange.
I think you care about the reality that is happening in your own more than any other one, but we don't look at the reality of future generations. When I go back to the Russian troll farm thing or intelligence agencies creating disruptions in other countries to spark up animosity, we don't look at like what's the damage of that 30 years down the line. Does a person just start shooting up a store or shooting up a mall or something because they think everyone's out to get them and everyone's spying on them? You know, our brain can convince us to do some very interesting and crazy and just unexplainable things. And we're lucky that most of the time it's positive, but there is that chance of it being a negative. You know, you have a text that gets sent to you and you misinterpret it. It's because there's no communication. You cannot sense the empathy factor, and it's only going to keep degrading from there. And I don't think the issue is with technology. I think the issue is just with how we perceive things. Our perceived gifts are things that we used to know to be able to understand how to hunt, survive, and be able to literally keep staying alive has just become way too easy where we've let something else do that for us. You know, it's like Wally with the beds and people just 300 pounds sleeping on beds that fly for you or whatever. You are accepting this deal of what these devices can do for you. And then when they're taken away, you have like literally addiction withdrawal symptoms. You know, I think Robin Williams has a joke about it where he like Twitter went down, he went to his son's room and like he was like all the internet was down. He was freaking out. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know. He's like, "You see me? It's me, Dad." And he was like talking to his son. You know, we haven't talked in ages. I miss you. Like that was the whole thing, his whole bit. But you start to realize that's a real fucking thing when you let this thing for survival or comfortability or a luxury or whatever starts to become the necessity. It's a very, very under the kind of the floorboard, kind of under the radar type change, but it happens. And then what do we do when that goes that way? Because it's easier to cause a bad habit or create a bad habit than it is to get rid of one.
Yeah, that's scary. And it's likely because we as humans didn't evolve that way, right? We didn't come up needing technology or the comforts of this or that. I think that's part of the problem with the world today is that we're very out of tune with nature and out of tune with like how we've evolved for thousands of years, right? And we're kind of in this weird place as humans that it's really unknown, right? As far as we know, it's an unknown of what's going to happen, and it doesn't seem to be like a good direction, though, does it?
I think it's a good direction. But I also think with the good direction that we go to, I think it's an accelerated version of like half-assing or cutting a corner on something. I think that we're evolving really, really fast with great strides. And I think that's the best part about people in general, not just America, but every country out there has innovations for one of being number one. But what's the cost? Most people are willing to accept whatever the cost is to someone else's life because it doesn't affect their own. And I think that's a basic kind of thing we need to keep into our heads in every reaction method that we do. Is getting pissed off really worth it and yelling at this person? Because how do we know that person wouldn't do something to themselves or do something to somebody else all because of a factor of what you said? I mean, you know, you'll see like there'll be people that are older, like, man, I went to high school with that guy. It's like, yeah, now he's being arrested for like 40 counts of manslaughter. Like, for instance, so this has happened recently. I actually might as well just read the article to you. I think I've mentioned this once before. I never really got into it because I don't like talking about this type of thing, but this is a real thing and it's like huge down here right now. So a girl that I work with brought this to my attention. She comes up to me and goes, Robbie, I got to tell you about something. I'm like, what? She's like, a guy at my work just got arrested and she works at a child care facility. I'm like, for what? So they updated this on August 31st. It says man facing 30 plus child abuse porn charges, including 19 felonies. And he worked in a local school's daycare facility. And you start looking through this documentary, this guy's now going to prison for dozens of charges and actually might get off on a technicality because it's one family that's charging. The other ones they haven't even like looked at yet. But I'm fucking. It's like the Bill Cosby shit. Like, why is Bill Cosby out? Because it was a technicality of whatever happened with this guy, his parents are addicts. He was raised by his grandparents, and he just developed this weird fucking thing. I don't think that person was naturally born with that inherent weird kink or fetish, and but he was having like Polaroids of some of the kids naked in his fucking sock drawer, all this type of shit. That's a hurt person. But how did that develop? Was that a factor of neglect? And it kind of goes like I was watching Steven Crowder. I only like him because he's like it's like watching Jersey Shore. There's a conflict to it. Some of the stuff he says, I'm like, you understand, I get it, but you're not being fucking nice about it. You want to make a platform where you want to talk to these kids and educate them or show them something. You put them into a debate thing. I don't like that. I want to see an elevated platform where people can talk rationally about things. But he talks about, he goes, I think there should be more of a mother and a father at home. There needs to be a full family, that family values thing. But everything now has been about destroying the nuclear family, that whole entire family thing. Now, there are some issues with the nuclear family for sure when it comes to rights and things of that sort, or someone having a say in something. A dad can be a stay at home dad, and a mom can go out and work if they want. I don't give a shit. But when he talks about but coming from a mother and father figure, there's no way in hell we're going to have a perfect world where people stay together and there's always going to be like a kid that comes from a good family. And even though who's to say that goes properly, that doesn't go properly sometimes as well too. But I think it's about the amount of time and care, whether one parent or two can do, or just someone, a random fucking stranger, a grandparent can be a fucking hero. A random stranger on the street that's just nice to someone can be a fucking hero, or they could be the biggest fucking villain. That's the weirdest part about, we see what we do. We see the good in our reality, but the damage to someone else's. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I don't think it's technology that causes all this animosity and fight and conflict between people. I think it's a factor of realities being influenced by someone else's reality. And sadly, I don't think all of our realities fit. It's like taking two puzzle pieces and it doesn't fit in that spot, but you're going to fucking make it fit. You're going to trim that puzzle piece with some scissors and you're going to cheat and it doesn't look right at the ending. It's because our realities are strong but fragile. And I don't know, it can be strong to a baseball hitting it. You're gonna get hit in the arm with a baseball. You might stop playing baseball. Or it might just cause you to want to play more because you fucking hate the kid that threw the baseball at you. But then it could be as fragile as you lose a pet and then you can never get fucking over it and you just revert to being a child adult because you're too afraid to move on because you loved that and you don't want to walk out into the world because that reality scares you. This is why we have people that play video games and in that game, they're a fucking god, but everyone loves them. It's like World of Warcraft. You're a level 100 paladin. Yes, I am. I'm a level 100 paladin. Oh, well, I fucking, you're a hero to me, man. Cool. And then he goes out to his J job where he just gets abused. He's cleaning fucking semen off the floor. He's got that shit of a job.
Right.
But in that game, it's everything. It's kind of like the QAnon shit. These people thought they were having power because they were fighting against the government or they were finding child pedophiles online. That's a good goal to fight child pedophiles. They might have been batshit crazy, but that's because our reality, the one that we're all in sync with, which is that killing is evil and some drugs are bad. But in another land or another culture that we consider maybe they're barbarish, that's their reality.
It's valid, man. It's valid. I couldn't agree with you more. I think I think the whole conversation just comes down to what you said, reality and perception of reality, each individual perception, and it's going to create synchronicities and it's going to create conflicts with people when you don't see eye to eye, or that things don't always fit perfect like a puzzle.
And
It's
and after
good.
the hour, we get to the main point. So, what reality are you in search for, Dylan?
That's a good question. I'm in search of my reality. I'm in search of the reality that makes sense to me, that helps me to have a better understanding of my life and gives me reason and purpose. And it allows me to continually evolve to be a much kinder and gentler person, that's, as close to all loving as I can be, which, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but I, just progressive, right? Moving forward, becoming a better person tomorrow than I was today.
When it comes to being a better person tomorrow than you are today, what are some things you'd want to improve?
Um, Frustrations, not letting things get to me as much, loving people more, being more caring, being more sharing, being trying to be more understanding, more supportive to others, which I think I constantly work at that. Having a better touch with God, if you want to call it that, or the universe, having a better relationship with my inner self and understanding myself better. I think the ultimate goal is self-actualization.
Do you think that meditation helps you find a form of self-actualization?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, dude. Uh, I think everybody should meditate. I think it should be something that's taught early on from an early age. And I think it's something that they should do in the schools. They should have time. Everybody should take time out to meditate daily, multiple times a day if you can. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, man, the world would be a much more peaceful place if everybody meditated.
When they say that you had a very draining day and you take a nap and you feel 1,000 times better than when you did when you went to sleep, I look at that like your body's natural process of trying to recuperate with everything
Yeah.
that's experienced. There are times where I'm like the most miserable ever, and I feel like I'm never gonna get past it. But then I take a fucking nap and I wake up. I was like, why was I so fucking mad at it? It was like because you were just upset. You were dealing with so much at that moment that you needed your brain to relax and process you through some things. You need to let some time pass. And I think that's with everything in life is that you you will find a way to be able to get over the situation that you're in, but how long are you willing to let that situation take control of your life until you're able to do so? It's hard to get over a loved one. It's hard to get over something so dramatic, or maybe you lose an arm, but you get past it. You move on to something and you try and find something, whether that's God, whether that's whatever it is. And I think that's the hope that I have. The hope that as dark as it can be, it's not impossible to find a sliver of light. And I think that's very important to maintain and hold on to as a person. I know at times you can't see that, but 90% of the time the situation that you're in is only bad because you're in it. But then how many people say like 5 years from now you're going to be laughing about this? And most of the time you are looking back at it like, fuck, that was a horrible fucking time. Well, you got over it. It's because you were dealing with it all at once and it was right in the now. But then what's going to be like tomorrow and the day after that, or maybe 10 years down the line or 20 years down the line?
Well, my friend, I hope for you that you can maybe transform your perception of reality as far when it comes to
It's a
the
goddamn
after
simulation. That's what it is.
when it comes to the afterlife, when it comes to where we go from here, because I think there is more to it than what you think. And I hope for you that you can maybe do that through research and just understanding and just life experience. And because I think in a lot of ways it'll give you strength and it'll give you some more inner peace, once you realize that there is more to it than just this one life. And um, so
I think your show has made me question more about it from the more experiences I've heard you talk to people.
I hope so, because that's the goal of the show. That makes me feel good that you say that.
It makes me question reality, I think, is the whole thing that I've been experiencing through all the episodes. Was like, I'm definitely still searching for it. So I guess that's the name
Yeah.
of your show. But
I I don't know if the search ever ends. There's a lot of mystery, right?
it'd be sad if the search ended,
Yeah,
because I
I
believe
think
there's
so.
it's like a plateau. It's like then you plateau. It's like nobody wants to know that they're at their peak, but then you always think if that's your peak, then everything's got to be downhill from there. Well, then you got to find a way to make sure that's not the peak. You got to keep excelling all the way until the day you're not here any longer.
That's right. That's right. Good point.
Well, Dylan, it's been a deep, interesting, mind-bending experience for me. Hopefully for you, and hopefully for anybody out there listening that's not contemplating what marijuana is and never smoking it. Um, but where can people find your podcast to be able to see some of your links and see some of your show as well too?
Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube, find me on any of your favorite podcast apps, Apple Podcasts, Google, um, iHeartRadio, any of those, Spotify. And then just you can search me out on in search of reality podcast.com is my website. Check me out. I've got videos and audio versions posted there, and just check me out, man.
And is there anything you want to say to the people out there listening before we wrap up the show?
Uh, question everything and find your own truth.
Question everything and find your own truth. I was just going to say, don't do drug. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life if you want to try a psychedelic, but make sure you got your life in order. Like plan the day out or some shit. Don't be
Yeah,
like,
no doubt.
I got to work in 2 hours. No, don't do that. Don't do psychedelics.
No doubt.